right, final matchup here.
Yes.
Shane. One we tried to warn them about is going to be a showdown. Texas A&M undefeated on the road at Missouri. The Aggies, Shane, favored by 6.5 points. The over-under 47.5 total points. 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. Nationally televised on ABC. Who do you like in the ball game?
Mike, it's tough to focus with Elko's massive nutsack just joining us. But hey, we're going to get to those new cousins here in a second. Mike, this is going to be a really good game, right? I feel like there's a lot riding on this one. I feel like pride from both ones. Here's Coach Elko. He's saying the right stuff, right? He's saying the right things from an undefeated coach. But I feel like in that locker room there is one voice, and they want to do something that we thought couldn't be done, and that is run the board. And they absolutely hate Mizzou because of the infamous blanket and all that. I mean, there was enough drama last year, and do not think that that's not carrying over to this season. But I feel like it's also ringing up there in Columbia. This is a football team that's got their back against the walls. They cannot afford to lose. They're getting no respect, no love with the voters, right? It's just not there. And this is a football team that has had trouble with top 5 teams. I think I read somewhere it said 2010 is the last time Mizzou has had a top 5 win. But this does feel like a personal game, Drink, if you were in on it, if like we had Truth Serum and there was a list that came out and it was the games he wants the most. I'm not saying this is the top, but it's a 1A, 1B situation. It's up there, Mike. He was embarrassed last year with this. And I feel like Texas A&M, it's so funny going into this game. I feel the same about Texas A&M now that I felt like with Mizzou last year. Isn't that crazy? Like, I never thought Mizzou was going to lose that game. Not only lose, they got their ass kicked, right? A&M, no way they lose this game. They're going to go up here. I'm not saying they're going to get their ass kicked, Mike, but I feel like there's a little upset in the air here, brother. Give me one final upset. Mizzou 27, Texas A&M 24.
Wow.
Yes, I know. I'm probably wrong, but
back on the Mizzou bandwagon.
I do feel like there's something about the doubters, right? The team. I feel like if Mizzou loses this game, they implode before the season's up. But I feel like anybody that's banged up that probably would be on an injury report is suiting up for this game, right? And we don't know Drink's future. We don't know where he's going to be at the end of the season. But I do know one thing, that this football team is convinced that they are a playoff squad, and they cannot make it to that playoffs if they don't pull off an upset here. So this is their championship, Mike. I don't want to get too Butch Jones here, but this is it. This is the one that they got to put all chips to the table. And yes, they got a freshman quarterback. I get that. But compared to what I saw the last couple of weeks from the passing attack, I'm ready for something different anyway, and I'm sure Mizzou fans are too. So, yeah, going to be a good football game, but I'm going to give Mizzou the slight edge here.
Yeah, the A&M fans, thank you, Shane. The A&M's another one you haven't been right on many times.
Never. I'm never right with them.
Ooh, buddy. So, yeah, there's a lot here, Shane, that, I mean, this is just the state of college football nowadays, where you go in a game like this, you literally have to win to keep your playoffs hope alive, and A&M can say all the right things, but they have to know that even if they drop this game, it means nothing for their playoff hopes.
Right.
So where's the motivation compared to one versus the other? Like, I know we want to go undefeated. We want to win the SEC. That's fantastic, but you don't even have to go undefeated to win it all. Mm-hmm. That's out there. Going on the road, difficult environment. I think Missouri, you know it well, very underrated home field advantage here.
Yeah.
I think they got to start fast to keep that crowd locked in, because I think there's a chance A&M just runs them out the damn building. I really do. They've run hell they ran LSU out of there pretty damn quick, didn't they? So they have it in them. I think there's a case to be made that A&M might have the best offense in the country. The way Marcel Reed was playing against LSU, if that Marcel Reed continues to show up, Shane, I think they might go undefeated, and I think Marcel may win the Heisman. I think he's playing at that caliber. At least he was last time we saw him against LSU, and that was with 2 turnovers. They blew LSU out with multiple turnovers and a punt got blocked. But there was no hesitation on that sideline because they knew the team they had. Meanwhile, Missouri, I think going on the road and, getting into a damn rock fight with Vanderbilt, then your quarterback going down, that could have been tragic. I think a lot of weaker-minded programs would have put it in the tank, would not have competed. Not only did they compete, I would argue they looked better with Matt Zollers in there. Now, was that just, one game and Vanderbilt literally had no idea what Zollers was going to be doing? Perhaps. I think you could make that case. But if I'm going to have to start a true freshman in a big game like this, I'd rather have the 2 weeks to prepare, get him comfortable, find out, what part of the offenses fit him the best, and we adjust to him. We lean with the best running back in the conference, in Ahmad Hardy. I think he's going to be critical in this matchup. They have to run the ball to beat A&M, and A&M is they are vulnerable to rushing attacks. That's maybe their one weakness is the defense. Now, I was, again, shout out Billy Lucci. I had him on the show. We'll drop that tomorrow. But he said, apparently in College Station, the big thing is, Shane, where the committee said, well, the reason we got A&M 3 and not 1 or 2 is we question their defense. So, this might be the best defensive performance Mike Elko's ever put together on Saturday to prove those fools wrong. You know what?
Yeah.
So that would worry me if you're hoping for Missouri to pull this upset. But I think, in fact, I know A&M's a better team. A&M should win this football game. But they don't, Shane. They don't win. No. Missouri keeps their playoff hopes alive. I'm not even Honda Moorestown this thing, Shane. That's how confident I am. Give me Mizzou 38. Give me A&M 31. A touchdown different. I don't know if it's penalties, which has plagued A&M. I don't know if it's turnovers. I don't know if it's the cold weather. But maybe it's a combination of all of those. I just think it's going to be an off performance for A&M. And hell, when I say off performance, there's still 31 points I got them getting here. But if it's an off performance, I think Missouri will beat them. Zollers, I think he's going to be the big storyline in the SEC come the weekend. Be like, good God, Missouri may have them a bona fide star at quarterback.
Damn it, Steve. Yeah, just when I feel like I'm gaining traction here, you go and pull the double cousin curse on me. Well, Aggie fans.
Wait, who's Steve? Who are you mad at, Steve? Steven?
I don't know. Something I say. Okay. I don't know. I made it up, I guess. But I'll say this, man. I feel like there's going to be some really good football games this weekend. And you mentioned upsets, and we've talked about a few of them. But I feel like when this Saturday ends, there's going to be some teams, like I said, just totally exhausted because they thought they almost lost one, or they thought they were knocked out of the playoffs. That could happen. And I know Aggie fans are excited that we both picked Mizzou, but brother, there is so much that could happen Saturday. There is no pulse. If there's anything that is certain in 2025 is that every Saturday is uncertain. So we're going to have a wild. What would be the headline if the games finish the way that you say it?
Well, wait, hold on real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Since we double cousin cursed Mizzou, do we have any kind of wager on the line? I was just thinking maybe you and I, maybe we do one of those A&M dances. If A&M wins.
Oh, shit.
And then we just, we don't have to do it live. You can film yours. I'll film mine. I'll edit
Can we
them
just
together.
drink milk?
I think it'd be funnier if we did did a little dance or something.
Yeah. All right. If it happens, we'll do the A&M whatever that thing's called.
And and Fireman Bill says you got to drink some tea. No, I'm just kidding. That's a bridge too far. You know what?
Deal.
All right, final matchup here, Steven. Game of the week, in my opinion, in the SEC. We got Missouri hosting mighty Texas A&M, Steven. Buddy. This one I've gone back and forth on all week. But, of course, A&M undefeated. They are favored by 6.5 points. Over-under is 47.5 total points. Who do you like in this battle, Steven, up here in Columbia?
Mike, I think, first of all, the stakes for this game are insanely high for both teams. If you're Texas A&M, the off week probably came at a good time because of such an emotional win over LSU. You're going to be favored to beat South Carolina. You're going to be favored to beat Samford. So if you look at the schedule and kind of a 4-game bookend, the 2 games at the end are tough with Missouri and Texas, but you're probably going to win those 2 in the middle. So you're probably going to be 10-0, or 10 wins, I should say. So if you win this one with those next 2, you're probably going to be undefeated going into the Texas game. And by then you would have locked up a spot in the college football playoff. But on the other side of things, Missouri, not a lot of respect on Tuesday night's rankings. I think certainly with the 2 losses, but 2 losses to teams that could make the playoff. Missouri gets Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Arkansas. Very doable to run the table here if you're Missouri and get back in the playoff chase. So I think if you're A&M, this is can we move one step closer to the playoff kind of game? And if you're Missouri, you win this game, you get back in the playoff, but you also probably gain a little national respect too, especially if you win with a backup quarterback. And speaking of the bye week came at a good time for Missouri because of the injury to Bo Prabula. So I think the bye week really works out for both teams. I think the storyline is certainly going to be Zollers in his first start. Really impressed with how he played against Vanderbilt. But to me, I think for all we're going to focus on the quarterback, I think we got to focus on the trenches here. Because I think if Missouri wins this game, I think Zollers is going to make some plays, but I think you want Ahmad Hardy to kind of get on track here. And I suspect that A&M is going to stack the box here and force the young quarterback to win. So how does Missouri create some running opportunities for him or Jamal Roberts? You look at A&M this season, 5 of their 8 opponents under 100 rushing yards. Arkansas had 268. So I guess what to say is that it is doable to run the ball on this defense. And we know Texas A&M has had trouble on defense on the road. Notre Dame, Arkansas. So it's doable if you're Missouri in this game. I think the other side is strength on strength. I am going to be fascinated to see the battle between Missouri's front against A&M's front. You've also got the firepower of A&M, whether it's Marcel Reed, the receivers, the running backs. Marcel Reed threw 2 picks against LSU. Don't think you want to do that again. I'd be surprised if the beat down on the final scoreboard is as lopsided as we saw against LSU. But I think if you're Missouri, there's your path. The trenches. Can you get enough going on the ground to get Hardy on track, which helps you maybe keep Marcel Reed on the sidelines? And if you're Missouri's defense, can you win against a good Texas A&M offensive line? Put some pressure on Marcel Reed, create some turnovers, give yourself a chance to win in the fourth quarter. So I think there's a lot of interesting bits here about this game, Mike, and I suspect that if Texas A&M thinks they're going to just roll into Columbia and win, I think they're very, very mistaken here. I think they are going to get a very feisty Missouri team on Saturday.
Do you give any credence to the thought that A&M has got a mulligan and Missouri simply does not, if they want to make the college football playoff, do you think that gives any kind of edge to Missouri?
Yes, I do. I think Texas A&M can afford to lose once, twice, maybe. At 10-2, I think there's probably still safe to make the playoff. But yeah, I think if you're Missouri, you can't afford another loss. I mean, you're in the top 25, but pretty far down there. You've got a couple opportunities to make it up. Backs against the wall. You've got to win this game. So I think, like I said, I think motivation, home field. We saw Missouri go toe-to-toe with Alabama a few weeks ago. And that's why I suspect we are going to see a very motivated Missouri team on Saturday. And why I think if you think the playoff rankings are just going to be static the rest of the way, you are sorely mistaken, because we see upsets every year. And Texas A&M, this is a dangerous spot for them.
Is there any chance that Matt Zollers is an upgrade over Bo Prabula? Because I don't want to take away. I thought Bo was having a good year, but I also thought that as the season went along, he was kind of showcasing limitations. Now, again, it's very easy to sit here and we've seen Zollers for a half of football, so it's like I don't see a weakness, But
yeah,
is there a shot where, like, man, maybe he's a far better passer than Bo, and maybe that opens things up for Missouri?
I liked what I saw out of Prabula earlier this year. It did feel like maybe he took a step back, or at least his play was not quite as good the last couple games as we saw earlier this year. So I think that's where Zollers maybe is a better pure passer. Maybe if you want to make that argument. Certainly, I think the sample size is really small at 29 attempts. Also, could he be as good of a runner as Prabula was? I think that remains to be seen. So maybe you gain something here, but you give up something on the ground. One other way to think about this too, Mike, is having 2 weeks to get a backup quarterback ready works in Missouri's favor. A&M doesn't have a lot of tape on it. So you do wonder, is like, can you get out to a fast start? Can you use that to your advantage? But I do think it's easy sometimes to come in off the bench cold. Now opponents got a week of tape. They get a chance to scheme for you. Maybe that as the game wears on, Texas A&M could kind of settle in a little bit defensively. So maybe you see an advantage early from Missouri, but maybe A&M, once they settle into this game, has got a chance to figure out what Missouri is doing offensively.
Do you think, A&M gets all the credit, as they should, for their ungodly third down defense statistics? But do you think that, Missouri gets enough credit? I don't know how many people realize they have the number 5 third down defense in the country. So it's pretty rare where you're the number 5 anything and you're not the best in a matchup. But that is the case because A&M's number 1 on third down. But, Missouri's defense, I think they're going to have to step up and win this game for Missouri if the Tigers win it. But do you think that is, being undersold, Missouri's defense in this game?
Yeah, I do. I think overall, Mike, I think Missouri has been probably under the radar for a good chunk of the season. The non-conference game against Kansas kind of put them on the radar. They kind of flew under that until the Alabama game, and then I think people kind of forgot about them. But I think the storyline really is, just like you said, third down defense, also how good this defense has been. Under 17 points a game for opponents this year. So I mean, some of these offenses that they played with, Auburn and South Carolina are certainly struggling this year. But if you remove the opponent, I think it's just watch the defense and certainly look at the personnel. I think this is one of the better defenses in the SEC. Great for Missouri to have that, given they have the new starter at quarterback too.
Mm-hmm. And then do you give any credence at all to last year? Man, what a shellacking A&M gave to Missouri. But that could, there's carryover to where this game is personal for Missouri.
I could buy that. I think if you're Eli Drinkowitz, you're probably looking for any kind of like motivation, right, to get your team ready to go. Certainly, we've seen with the blanket, he's not afraid to mix it up a little bit, and of course, all in good fun. So I think, yeah, I mean, like motivation for last year. backs against the wall playoff. I think, there's this like doubt, like respect thing for Missouri too. Like, I've said it before. I don't think they're getting enough respect for what they've done the last couple of years. They win on Saturday. We're talking about them as what's their path to the playoff. So I think there's a lot at stake here for Missouri. If they fall short, I don't think there's any shame in it. Like you're down to your third quarterback, and if you go punch for punch with A&M for 4 quarters, who is a national championship contender, there's no shame if that's the way it plays out. I don't think they're going to get much national respect for that.
Well, Steven, who do you got respect for in this matchup? Is it the undefeated fighting Texas Aggies? Do they stay undefeated? Or does Missouri re-enter the playoff picture? I know they're not done yet, but this would be their biggest win, I don't think, without question, of the Eli Drinkwitz era. Who wins on Saturday?
Mike, I wish I had more, tape on Matt Zollers. I think if we got a chance to watch a Missouri game or two with him in control, I think this prediction or this game would be a little bit easier to decipher. I like Texas A&M, though, and for a couple reasons. I think we've seen this team. They just keep finding ways to win games, and it was the road game against Notre Dame, beat the heck out of LSU a few weeks ago. This team can win a lot of variety of ways. So I think what's going to happen is I think Missouri is going to show up for 4 quarters. It is going to be a 4-quarter battle. I think Zollers is going to make some plays. He might make a mistake or two. I think in the end, Marcel Reed is the difference here for me. I think A&M finds a way to get a late score and wins. I like it 31-23 Texas A&M. Maybe that's a little high on the scoring end, but I'll take Texas A&M to get a late score and escape from Columbia, setting up 9-0 and the stretch run for the Aggies and a chance to move a little closer to the SEC championship game.
Interesting, Steven. Very interesting.